Good morning. What do we have? A happy Wednesday, hump day, sound check. Thank you very much. All right, let's rock and roll. So we have 597.40. Let me see if I can get a better look. 597.40 is our early pivot. Where's the market hanging around? 597.40, 35, 32. All right, so this is our pivot above. She's in a bullish camp for a run higher. Below, she can leak down to 596.50 to 595.30, give or take. And that is a buy him for a bounce back in the other direction zone. It's a little bit wider than yesterday, but not too bad. Maybe it's about the same. Either way, above, and there's some overhead resistance at 598.70 up to around 599, give or take. Above 599.30 is where any kind of short scalp with potential, and this would be sooner than later. Not looking for this at noon. I'm looking for this soon. This would be an opportunity, first time, best time for a short scalp with potential. That's it. Okay. And those are your two sides. That's the morning schematic. We have two stocks on the move. We got one is SWKS, Skyworks Solutions. WKS, Skyworks Solutions. And that one we have an 81.90 down to a spike of 80. And it's a mover. I'm just looking up something. Give me 1 second. And then we have CART, and there's your zone in CART. CART was trading in the zone in the pre-market. Skyworks is below the first number now, by the way. So we'll just play those by ear. We'll see what else is moving after the bell rings, which happens in about 2.5 minutes. And I don't have much else to say as the S&P is flat-ish going into the day. We had an 8:30 a.m. economic data point, CPI. They liked it. Then they pulled back to the flat line. They were down in the pre-market. They rallied, I don't know, up, what were they up? 10 or 12, 15 points, something like that. I don't remember. And then they pulled back to the flat line. So they're flat line. All right, a couple minutes to post time. I'm just going to go on mute. We'll be back. We'll be back in a minute. I had a play in JB Hunt. I'm not sure how this thing's going to open, but if we get, give me a second. What was I just looking at? Yeah, if we get a spike of 183, I start to gain some interest in alongside spike of 183, JB Hunt. All right, we'll see. It's a mover, so it could move. You never know. Just keep it on the radar screen, as they say. It's hard to tell how it's going to open. In fact, you can't tell. All right, let's get ready to rumble. Yeah, it did, Ron. And they're off. All right. So let me know if somebody keep an eye on JB Hunt. I'm going to go to Skyworks. How about CART came up short? The spiders are hanging around the pivot. There's your pre-market. Skyworks. There's your pre-market. Yep, that happens. Yep, Bitcoin's at what, 90 already again? Just about. Unbelievable. It is really unbelievable. I mean, it's pretty incredible. No doubt about it. It's not a deniable situation here. It is just on a fucking tear. All right, so see what happens with the spiders here. You just got to let it play out, bake in the oven, do what they're going to do. Taking a look around the horn, just see what's what. Here's the gap left open from last night, which is just a gap. Maybe they bounce it, maybe they don't. It's not a trade. A little lower, 596.50, 595.30. Let's bounce back in the other direction zone. Let's see. Brian wants to look at crude. Maybe. We'll go to the regular hours. It's not the real regular hours. Remember, I told you that yesterday or the other day. Doesn't really matter. The number is important. It's not the chart we're using. In this case, this regular hours starts at 9:30 and crude opens at 9, so it skews it. Why is that, Paul? I'm just curious. Maybe. Zero or millions, those are the only two possibilities. Zero's getting less likely. I agree with that. But why is millions the other side? Pretty fair question. Everybody's got different homework, right? It might be right, Jack. You guys, listen, I'm not denying that it's not going much higher. I don't know. For those that are holding it, that's fine. More power to you. I don't have it. So I don't have a dog in the fight. I have no reason to disagree. I'm not looking for a short. I'm just an observer. It certainly has stood the test of time. No doubt about that so far. Bitcoin has withstood the test of time. So has some of this other stuff. So they had every opportunity to unravel it several times over the years, and it never did. So there's too many believers, and it's getting way out of control in terms of now it's an accepted thing. I don't even know what to call it. And crypto, blockchain, there's technology is there. There's no question about it. Is Bitcoin going to be a currency or is it going to be something else? I don't know. Don't know. So I'll see where the spiders fall in terms of the pivot. Do they close candles above, below, 5 minutes above? Doesn't really tell you anything. And they haven't even closed the 10-minute candle yet. So it can't do anything with time 3 minutes, 4 minutes into the day, or 7 minutes into the day. We got 3 minutes left to the 10-minute candle. Oh, cart. Let me check it out. Yeah, so cart bounced in front of the second. Pardon me, first. See how that worked? And then they sliced through it. Let's see what it looks like on 1 minute chart. I'd have never, if I ever saw that, I would have never bought that first number. No, not after that. That's giving you the deal, right? They gave you the base hit. And there's a method to the madness, the 1%. And then it does activate the second number, but I would have never taken this trade at the first number had I seen that. Just saying. And now they're working on giving you the deal off the second number. Yeah, I agree with that, Ron, just to see what happened. Absolutely. Yeah. From a visual perspective, I want to see that bounce. Yeah. We'll see. You got 1 minute left till this 10-minute candle closes. We'll see where they are relative to 597.40. Then I start focusing on a 15-minute. It's just progression of events. See this, right? 1 minute left and they start to fight back. We'll see what happens. When you look at a 10-minute chart, this is pullback. Could be a higher low. They could take off from here, or this may not be a higher low. We don't know yet, but it could be for sure. 15 minutes, same as the 10, could be a higher low situation brewing. We'll see. Now leading up into the 10-minute close, they give up the pivot. So here's a 5 minute above, a 10-minute below, and a 5 minute below. So you got nothing yet. That's the answer. You got nothing yet. So they can't stay above when you look at this chart, right? They tried, but they couldn't do it so far. And you can even see from yesterday. It's important. Looking around, looking through some charts. Market's flat. Transports are up. IWM's up 0.7%. So you have relative strength with my two favorite market leading indicators. That can't be bearish. It doesn't have to be bullish for the spiders. That's the way I look at it. It's a piece of information. JB Hunt bounced at 185 instead of spiking 183. Tesla's up 15 bucks. Why not? Just looking around stuff. This is higher risk intraday. I'm going to give you another number in a minute. That's a zone. It's a little wide. They don't have to get down here. They'll pop back above the pivot. That was the market fooling you, Ed G. Missed it. Missed it, Tom. Yep, IWM showing relative strength. Jerome, yep, mentioned that. I don't know if you put the comment in before or after. My apologies. Circling back to some questions. Do I think GC is bearish short term? What's your definition of short term? Today? This week? This month? Next month? It's in a downtrend. How's that? Let's put it up here. Okay. There's your 20, there's your 50. So it's heading toward 100. Whether it gets there, we don't know, but at least the daily chart's in a downtrend, that's for sure. But now it's getting to the point where it's getting a little bit far from home base, right? Flip side of what we talk about in the video at night with the S&P. Okay. So you're going to expect a bounce pretty soon, and you got one at 2,600. Whether that's it or not, we don't know yet, but you're getting close to, even if it's down here, it's not that far in gold terms. And look what you have. Let them spike the 20 period moving average. You pick it up at 25.50, 25.45, something like that. Spike the 20 period moving average. Nobody will want it. And then they'll bounce it. And your bogey is the breakup candle low at 25.14. That's it. That's the buy. Right down in here. Spike the 20 period moving average. Nobody will want it. Maybe it does it next week. And if that doesn't hold, 2,500 is your next place anyway. Big fat round number. So it's not that far. See what I'm saying? It's like a 2,500. It's like a little safety net in that scheme of thinking for me. All right. How's that, Alex? Yeah, you're welcome. Not necessarily, Frank T. Nothing moves in opposite directions other than bonds and interest rates and a handful of other things across the globe. But for the most part, there's no correlation between the dollar and TLT. They're not going to move in opposite directions or the same direction. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. So the bond market and the dollar don't have to be tied. 20-year bond plus 20 to 30-year bond and the dollar don't have to be tied together. No, you're welcome. Let's get back to the spiders here. I forgot. Fighting the pivot, right? There's nothing else going on. Amazing. Let's check out the Qs. 512.35. They gave you a bounce right back to it. So first time, best time. Okay. IWM 239.95 is the next area of resistance. So far, they've come up short. The next number is up at 241.65, and then you have the old midpoint phenomenon.
Cart hit the third level.
What was that?
Cart hit the third level.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, and here come the spiders. Look at this. Let's see. Cart hit the third level and bounced. How you doing? All right. And here come the spiders. All right. Let's see if they hit 596.50. Dig in a little bit, whatever it's going to be. Your zone is your zone. If you're willing to buy the top, you got to be willing to take the ride or buy the bottom, buy the middle and the bottom, take the ride, buy the middle, take the ride, something like that. Okay. Let's have an understanding. And the UAL, whoops, UAL. Let me see. I have to look on a different chart. I need more real estate. Yeah. You know what? It's just, I think they even got halfway home. This is it. 91.65 to 93, above 93, ask me again. Spiders don't get to 96.50. Now they're going to bounce back toward the pivot. Maybe this is obviously not a trader's tape. Just take it for what it is at the present time. Oh, you want also a target, 90 bucks, Andy. On the downside, you got to be taking a profit at 90 bucks if they give it to you. The spike in 90. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, there's your spike. Okay. So those that bought it, you take your base hit when they give it to you. If they give it to you off this initial bounce, don't let it go bad. This was the setup before the opening bell. The second exit would be back at the pivot, maybe a spike of the pivot, in front of the pivot. It's up to you. But they've basically given you the base hit now. They could still get into the zone, and this is one of those, and give you a play it again, Sam, from within the zone. If I was going to play it again, Sam, I would want it closer to 596. Let them spike the low, head towards 596, and use something, give or take 596 to 595.30 as the next zone. That's a play it again, Sam opportunity. So that's my answer, Ron, to that. It's listed on the board. I'm not looking at it right now. The stop for cart. There, 42.35 on close, hourly close. Where's cart? I think cart's at the third number. It's bouncing around the third number, right? So we talked about this. Yeah, I think they already gave you a base hit off the third number anyway. Yeah, technically they already gave it to you. Just saying, but here they come. So maybe you don't need to stop anyway, Andrew. Let's let them ride. Anybody in cart down there? 1150 in cart for Robert L. Nice. Scott S is in cart. There's that third number phenomenon. That's going to fail one time. It doesn't work every time. Maple Bear, CART. I never heard of it. Bitcoin's at 91.5. My goodness. How you doing? Hey, it's getting vertical. They'll come up short of 100, spike through 100. 100's a big fat round number. 97, 97.5, 98.2, 99.1, anything in there. Who knows, right? Really, who knows? Now, let's be honest about it. First time it's going to be up to 100. They're going to come up short or spike it through. I don't know. CART is Instacart? Didn't even know. Maple Bear, who was that? That's the parent company? I didn't know that. Why doesn't it say Instacart? What do they have to make it so hard for? I'm not sure why that would be, Michael H., but I can't disagree or fight you on it. Bitcoin is a bullish sign for the market. I don't think that's true, but I can't fight you on it. I don't think either of us could prove it either way. There's my base hit. I just waited a little longer. I was a participant. Oxy coming down, Tom D. Let's see. Good old Oxy. Oh, yeah. What do we got? Where's this going? Hold on. I need more space. Oxy. Nah, you got nothing. You got nothing. That's the first thing you got in my book. You can't even see it. It's 43. I don't see anything else. Hold on. Hold your horses. Take that back. That's a pretty decent zone. Well, before they ever sniff this, they'll probably bounce it here. I would expect. Now spider's coming back down. All right, so they gave you a base hit. Came right back down to 596.50. Just to shake you out. That's all they do. Oh, is Berkshire? Oh yeah, they're selling a bunch of other stuff too, other than Apple. I heard that this morning. Is that true? That's what Oxy? Yeah, they're a big holder in Oxy. I remember that. I don't know if they're selling it, but it sounds like that's the case. Crude hit the number. Let's see. Sure did. Now let's see it. Now the plate against Sam was down near 596 to 595.30. That would be the new zone. Okay, Jerome. Oh, they just bought it? Okay, Gary, I wasn't aware. I didn't know. I just heard they were selling other stuff. There's your little bounce in crude, little tiny bounce off that number. Just gives you an indication right now that they know about the number. That's the way I look at it. It didn't cut through it like a hot knife through butter, like it wasn't even there. They stopped there. They're bouncing a little bit. So that's a good sign that the number's important. All right. So what I just put up on the board was 596, give or take, down to 595.30 is the new zone for a bounce back in the other direction. That's what we're going to do with it. Okay. Is 15 cents good enough? That's up to you. Honestly, 15 cents, 10 cents, 8 cents, a spike through by 10 cents, it's all the same. You split hairs over pennies, it's very difficult. There you go. All right. Below 595.30, below 595, not so hot. Right here in this zone, this is the top end. Don't be surprised if you see 595.30, 25, even 595. It's all the same thing. There's your 595.30 spike. And here comes your 595. So we got a little bit of a meltdown situation coming. Let's see it. That's a failure. Okay, that had an opportunity for a higher low. This is a failure. Be careful below this low here. 594.37 opens the door to 593.20. Just know that. All right. Let's see it. Okay, 595.30 holds. They'll give you back up toward 596.50 or more. Crude, nice bounce off that number. Better bounce off that number. If anybody just bought 595.30 and only 595.30, you've taken profit already. Those that bought them down at 596 and 595.30, they're about to give you the base hit, or they have, depending on where your average is. This is the bounce you were looking for. Okay, there she goes. How you doing? My goodness. I was in it. I sold profit. I had it on mute. Sorry, but I'm definitely in this thing. Here's the next one. And there's your second trade of the day. So we got 2 morning trades today in 40 minutes in the S&P. That's pretty good on a quiet day. It really wasn't that volatile. They're still only down 4 or 5 points on the day. When you think about it, they really didn't get too far from home base, meaning the flat line, and they gave us nice trades. Let's see. I'm looking back at some questions, comments, complaints. Kava, Andy, you can see this one. I don't know if they're going to get to the gap. You would have to take profit at a spike of 152. Don't let them get to 151, 60. Look, this is the breakout area. This is what they gapped above. Okay. The high is 151.56. So we're going to say you got to take something before 151.56, in my opinion. All right. That's just the way I look at things. Okay. And then the next would be the gap down here. You're welcome. There has to be a place to buy Boeing and just forget about it. 142.50 was the next place. I don't know if this is a last place. I would tend to doubt it, unless or until they put in some kind of a bottom. But they haven't really threatened to do that yet. See, this is a big time breakdown candle. They ran a test at the top twice and failed twice. They're going to try it again. I don't know. But that's not bullish. That's a bear flag. Now watch this. Let me squeeze the chart a little bit and go to a 3-month chart. See how this is just a sloppy, bearish, flaggish kind of thing, or wedgish. I don't care what you want to call it. It's really all it is. Not to say they can't bounce it. They're going to test this low? I don't know. It's a tough one. Annual chart. Look at this. They made a low. They retested it and bounced, huge bounce, and failure. So what happens? Do they put in a third higher low here? Or do they give up these lows and come all the way down? I can't tell you. But this is, if this was like a daily chart or an hourly chart, we'd be looking at this and I'd be saying, yeah, look, they could put in a higher low here, or these pivots might not hold. But this is tremendous amount of points. This is an annual chart. This is the whole ball of wax. All of Boeing from 1968. Isn't that cool? Yeah, you never know. Michael W. Took the base hit, now at 541. Jerome K, nice job. Can we look at NLR? NLR, let's go back to a realistic chart. Uranium, sure, okay. For me today, to buy it, it would have to be a spike of the gap, and it would have to be down around 88.65, 88.70. All right. I don't know if that happens. The resistance is up here. 90. Paul D made 3K. Nice call. You're welcome. Great job. Ed G, great job. Smash Mouth, talking about this every single day. Pounding the table. Something is up. Pounding the table. This is a lower high situation. This one's not definitive. Could be, I can make a case for a high and a low. So not definitive on the monthly chart. Could also make a case they're eating time off the clock to challenge this breakdown candle high. That's the bull case, 275, give or take. Just a big fat round number up there. So can make that case too. Lower high or eating time off the clock to make another move higher to challenge breakdown candle high area. One of those two things is happening right now. All right. Then we scale it down to the daily and we know this is our bogey. They're above here. We know they're going to 275. And you could trade it up to 275 with this. If they did that, it's hard to do, but if they closed weekly, even daily, above there, daily, you could use the daily number that day, that $14 down day. If they close above that on the day, maybe you wait for another day's confirmation and you could ride it up to 275 or at least a piece of it. Okay, let's see. Just bear with me. I'll be right back. I'll come back to some of these questions, comments, complaints in a sec. There's no play it again salmon here. The next trade, if they made a new low, I personally would be waiting for 593.20. I don't know if they'll give it. They may just spike the low and rip it back. It would be without me because I would be waiting for the next number in the sequence, provided that it doesn't happen in the next few minutes. In other words, just I'm not going to be interested in a midday trade of a spike to low down here with this looming, because if this doesn't hold, that's the next number in the sequence. Just saying. All right. Michael W, 3370 on the trade. Nice job. Let's get some numbers. Well, hold on. Don't put anything in yet. I got to read some of these others before I scroll away. 45.40 on both trades. Michael W, great job. Len, $500 on an MES, 200 on MNQ, out for 150 MCL. There you go. Nice job, Len. TLT, I'll take a look at TLT, Jory. Up 8 cents on the day, so it's nothing going on there. It's just, is this a retrace or is this going to fail? Those are your two options. If this fails, it changes everything. And if this is just a retrace, it's normal garden variety stuff. That's it, Jory. That's really it. All right, all these numbers are not even important. Those two issues right now is everything for this weekly chart in TLT. Okay, now let's get back to some stuff. You're welcome. Microsoft, Mickeysoft. Let's get a better picture. I'm not so sure about that. Yeah, they would have to make a new low below this low for me, 413.50, 60, 65. I just settled that in there. Just call it 60. Okay. That would be my first opportunity. I would look at it, and then there would be support around a spike of 412. Let's just call it 412. That's Mickeysoft right now. John W, 2270. Patrick G, 593.20 level has a trend line again. No, it's actually a little bit lower for me. I'll tell you, this trend line, it comes in around the 591 and change today. 591.40, something like that. Already looked at that this morning, if you're talking about that one. Alex F, 500 on CL. Let's go back to CL. There you go. Look at that. Bingo. Eric D, $600, 982 in the Qs. Dirk, 350 crude. Brian T, nice job. Short Kava, $300. Andy, break even in Cart, and 2K in ES. Danny J, Cart. What happened to Cart? Oh, Cart was bouncing nicely before. Yeah, look at that. Got to take it when I give it to you. Let's see. Yeah, that's probably not the case, Gary. I agree with you. And Oxy. Nick V, 750 in the Spider, 1200 on the ES for Ron W. Well done. And we got any other numbers out there? We got other participants? The participants in the trade? Put them in the box. Smoke them if you got them. 900 for Shannon, 380 for Art. There's some more. 1200 for Ed. URNM for Jory. Entry for what? Like a swing or a day trade? Okay. It's all depending on this low from yesterday for now. Okay. If they give up this low, you go fill a gap, and then you got all this stuff down here. And I would say this is probably already did a 50% retrace. I'm just doing this in real time. This is going to be like the course. We're going to bring up a vehicle and we're going to analyze it in real time. So there's your 50% retrace. If they give up the 50, you got 618 and a gap down here. I'd be waiting for $41. If they give this up, I would let them slice through, because it's already bounced in front of the 618. So I would revert. If this doesn't hold, I would revert to 41. If you want to be long, you got to be long against this low, which is 44.10. So you got $1 risk right here. Or no, sorry, a little more than that, almost $2. Okay, that's the way I would look at that one for a swing. So you got two options. Yeah, you're welcome. Two options. One would be more aggressive. One would be you got to have patience and it may not happen. Those are the two types of traders. You got to decide which one you are. If you want to be in it for the long term and you're willing to buy it up here, and if they kill it for $4 or $5, just buy more, then you could do that too. That's your third option. If they sell it off 10%, you're down at the 41 anyway. It's the same. 10% is not the end of the world. I know why you're looking at uranium. You're looking at it for the long-term power play, AI, data centers, nuclear energy, small nuclear facility, energy generation plant type stuff. I get it. And so if I had that theme in my mind, I would be willing to be long and buy with a 10% pullback. That's just me. That's my honest opinion on it. Because who's to say when those type of themes begin to really accelerate, if they're going to take hold. Juan B took Skyworks plus the CL, even though Skyworks didn't get it. That's okay. It's up to you. That's fine. As long as you made money. 250 for CL on Peter C. Nice job. $500 for Ronnie K. Is there a top trend line on the SPY daily with top on July? No, I don't have anything like that, Thomas. Nope. There's your 596.50. You looking back here? You just looking to draw a line and pick a line? Nah, I don't do that. You want to do this? This is a rough draft. You want to do this? Guess what? Look where it comes. Isn't that funny? Maybe it's a little bit higher if I did it dead on balls accurate, but it comes right in the neighborhood of my trend line anyway, the first trend line. Isn't that funny? Is that what you were doing? Who was doing that? I forgot. I can't look back already. Thomas M. Yes. Isn't that funny how that works? It's crazy, isn't it? The more you do that, and then think about this one. You do that kind of stuff. All right, let's see where you do that kind of, they're fighting 596.50. You do that kind of stuff, and then you learn that when you see a couple of things converge like that, and you price at that convergence, you shut off the TV, you shut off the blogs, the YouTubes, the everythings. You just buy it, and it's going to work 8 or 9 out of 10 times. You just got to give it time, and it's just the way it is. When you see that kind of stuff, maybe it doesn't work. If it hits there at 3:15 in the afternoon, maybe it takes another day to work out. Maybe they spike it tomorrow, gap down, snap back, all that kind of stuff. Maybe that happens. Hit it in the morning. By the end of the day, they're back up because they're going to fight back to a place like that if they spike it early on. There's different ways that it happens, but by golly, when you see two things like that converge, you just buy it. As long as they do it in the manner in which. Right? They creep into it and they go sideways right above it for 3 or 4 or 5 days, then it changes things. But if they come into it in a hurry formation, you just buy it. It's going to work 8 or 9 out of 10 times. My experience. 596.50, dead on balls. UAL, did it get to 93? Was that the number? No. Didn't we have a 93 from before? I seem to remember. Yeah. Yeah, Danny J, good job. See you tomorrow. That's up to you, Ed. You can put it wherever you want. At this point, you want to make sure you make money on it, put it higher. You want to put it at the dead low and see what happens. Maybe never revisits it, move it up later. That's up to you. There's all kinds of ways. There's no right answer there. That's why it's very difficult for me to say that was right or wrong, and I won't, because there's just infinite number of ways to manage a final trailing contract or position. How you want to just let it ride, that's one thing. You want to make sure you get a profit, that's something else. You already have a ton of profit, you're willing to let it, put it below the low is where the liquidity is. And that's where, for whatever reason, a lot of traders learn somewhere to short when they break this low here. And yet our trade is spike the low and rip it back up in the other direction, because that's where liquidity is. So I always have a difficult time putting a stop below the low, because I know that the rip it back up in the other direction trade exists, because the liquidity is there, because the liquidity are the people that are putting the stops below the low, if that makes sense. How you doing? Short PLTR. The spider's trying to rally a little bit. PLTR, let's see. So we're short PLTR. So resistance would be today's high, because that's all you got, right? That's all you got is today's high, maybe 65. And then on the downside, they already hit first support, which would have been the former breakout area. So the next thing is low of day, 59, 84, 85, if they're going to run a test down there. But right now they're reading time off the clock, so be careful being short here. And as if they're getting a little help from a friend, it's tough to be short and fight the tape. A little help from a friend over here in the spiders. That's right, Jory, pretty much. TSN, anybody take that other than Ron W? I'm hoping. There's my, so I was long from down here, right? Yeah. That wasn't the first profit. You didn't hear the first one. I had it on mute by accident. Just got to wait. Maybe they give you back to the pivot. Maybe they come up short. I'm not going to hang around. Whoops. Wrong number of contracts. Yeah, I'm just going to put an order in front of the pivot and be done with it. Just because I want to be done. That's all. Doesn't mean they're going to stop there. It's just, that's it for me. I got one left. 596.50. Above 596.50, doors open back to the pivot. Below, it's not. That simple. And there's no other trade for me today in here unless they make a new low. They got to make a new low. That was just a back test so far. Tomorrow, Eric D. Look at this bounce in Tyson food. Anybody take that? I talked about that before. 61.11. Tremendous. Look at that back test. Now they're going to give you the pivot. That was a shakeout. That was a shakeout. Trader's tape. It was, Ed, pretty much. Turned out to be a trader's tape for an hour. Yep, so far. Now they missed my exit. Swines. I got one left, and it's so far from my entry, it almost doesn't matter. It's just a matter of how much. I'm not letting it get back to even break even. That's not going to happen for me. Yeah. Transports are up a Hyundai and IWM's up almost $2 or 0.8%. That's canary-ish. We talked about that earlier. I said it can't be bearish. It doesn't have to be bullish, and we're still in that camp. Let's put this in perspective. The spiders are up 17 cents. The ES is actually up less than a point on the day. The SPX cash index is up $2.50, 30 cents. So this is a flat day, and it was pretty decent trading for that matter. And we got Tyson, crude oil, ES and NQ 14.3, one more trailer, Mitch S. That's tremendous. That's just tremendous, Mitch. It's ridiculous. Whenever those numbers come into the screen, first thing out of my mind is ridiculous for a trade. In a great way. Scott S., see you tomorrow. You're welcome. Bounce in Tyson. Anybody want to know why that bounced in Tyson? What's the high? 61.11. How many times have you seen me do this? Market runs up to this spot, doesn't matter the reason. Market said that exact number, for whatever the reason, is important. Sold off. Jumped over that price, coming back to run a test of the most recent breakout area, or a breakout area. Can make a case there's others, but when they were here, I knew this was it. Okay. What kind of stuff you think we're going to learn in the course that's coming up? That's just a little sample. It's just a little sample. 61.11. Now that's it. Now below 596.50, no longer the bull case for 597.40, but now the doors open a leak, spike the low, all that stuff. I don't know if they will or won't, but no interest in this. I'm out. I took profit on the last piece, and I'm done. That's it. I just put a stop in and hit it, and that was it. And I was going to take a profit on the last contract no matter what, wasn't going to let it ride all the way back down to the entry. And so I don't care if they bounce it from here. That's fine. I had a nice trade, just like everybody else that took profit. Okay? Just so you know. Yeah, that was pretty textbook, Juan. Exactly. It is. I've been showing that for years. For years. The sad thing about this whole business of the business is that I've been showing stuff like that for years, and the amount of people that have seen me do that more than once, twice, or 3 times that still haven't registered yet. The amount of people that it did register with and that can actually look for that is so infinitesimal compared to the amount of people that have seen it multiple times. And I don't know why that is. I have no idea. It just shook me out of my last contract. That's fine. I have no issue with that. I'm okay with that. As long as they're above 596.50, they're going to work on the pivot, and above the pivot, that's back to the bull case. Again, they're down 2 points on the day, the ES, so there's nothing really going on at present, but it still was pretty decent trading. And with that, I'm going to take a pause here for a moment and step away. Let me read a couple other questions, comments, complaints here. Max F, 2.1K in crude oil from 66.97. Let's take a look at that one more time. Look at that. Oh my goodness. It's $1,000 a contract. Obviously, Max and others know that, but just so that $1,000 per dollar per contract, per dollar move. SMH is not bouncing. Down almost $4. Dude, it's canary-ish. It just is, right? How many days in a row do I have to talk about this? It's not that I get tired of talking. I just think it's fascinating. I'm just using a figure of speech, you know. Let me go on a little stretch them out walk for a minute. Be back in a few minutes, get that out of the way, and give me 2 or 3 minutes. Back and they haven't done anything. I don't feel bad about going for a little bit of a stroll just to stretch them out. SMH hanging around down here, not bouncing. No, they're not, Dirk. Let's take a look at a chart from a different angle. Really not telling you anything. Not telling me anything. A higher low, but it doesn't look the same as it did back here. All of a sudden, it starts to look like all they did was run some tests down near the lows. Look at the hourly chart. They ran a test of a breakup candle low, spiked it pretty good, and snapped it back. And if this continues, it could be another up leg coming later in the day. But if they get below here, no dice. Just looking around the charts. See what we see. Let's see, Alex. Yeah, maybe not. You could have one of these. Look, I love these. Makes it more complicated, right? Not that I love when that happens, just for the sake of saying it. This could be bearish pattern. This could be a bear flag, right? Absolutely. But then what if I took that and I said, all right, I'll see your bear flag and I'll raise you a breakup candle, pullback test, another test, recapture of the low. That's bullish, isn't it? So both things could be true for now, but you have one of those patterns inside of a pattern that I talk about in the videos from time to time. So I do see that, and you stretch it out from an hour to a 2 hour to a 3 hour, and you start to see maybe it's still there, maybe it disappears. Here's a bearish wedge inside of a breakdown candle. The high, they've already tested it 2, 3 times. Make a case for 4 times. And here, 4 hour, you can make a pretty good case. This is a bearish flag. See how it just, but you also have the same pattern inside of a pattern. See how I just morph it from one to the other. Now the daily chart looks nothing like that. See how I look at each individual chart, come up with something entirely different sometimes. In this chart, I'm looking for lower. Talked about it this morning. So will the big time frame dominate? Does that make this into a bearish flag? Maybe. There's nothing definitive, but this is the way I look at it. All those things. Nice run to the pivot. We're close enough. I would have been out with the more profit than I had by selling it before, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. It's trader, day in the life of a trader. If you connect 214 to 8.5 low, what chart are you looking at? What are you talking about? Gold? Are you talking about what's TL? Trend line. Okay. So you're connecting what chart? This one? Low. Right? Is that what we're looking for? 214 low. So you're all the way back here. 214. Why would you connect that low? What makes that low important? That's the problem. That's why I needed to find that. February 2nd. No, it's not an important low. That's an important low. That's an important low. But you can't, maybe. Now that I look at it like this, maybe, but no, I wouldn't do it. No, I wouldn't do it. Just me. That's what makes a market. Look at how they came up short of the pivot just there. 597.38 against 40 by 2 cents. Come on, 2 cents. We're splitting hairs over pennies. 214 to 8.5 low. 214. I had the 214. That's what I was looking at. February 14th, right? 214. But I just don't like picking it out of a hat. It feels hattish. If I'm looking at this and I pick that out, what do I do with this? That I could do. But that's nowhere near this. So you want to do this. You want to do this or that. See, you can't even do that. No, it doesn't work. Can't do it. You can't find the pivot in the middle of nowhere and then skip the next pivot. That's what you did. I can't have it. Sorry. It's a good exercise, Alex, and we can do it 100 times and you'll learn that way. But that one, I have to say, get one of those X's. You see where I was going with that? It's got to be what I call a standout pivot. Unmistakable. This is not a standout pivot. This is not a standout pivot. This is not a standout pivot. Because this is a low, you start to make a case, but it's not a standout pivot because you got this and this right next to it. This is a standout pivot. Even this isn't because you got this stuff down here. This is standout pivot. And this is a standout pivot. And only because this is over here, this doesn't matter. This is standout pivot and this standout pivot. And right there, I would say, then you could take this and you could do this. And that's a good line, but you're nowhere near there. Someday, that's confirm it on a weekly chart, right? That doesn't work. This is your pivot. This is your pivot. This is your pivot 101 class. You could do this. You could do anything you want. Whether it's valid or not is a different story. You can't do that. Maybe you can. Yeah, that would probably work. But you can't pick this one and this one because it's in the middle of nowhere. That we're going to do that in the class, right? That we're going to spend as much time as it takes on that kind of stuff so we all understand it. It takes an hour and a half, 2 hours, a whole session on pivots. I don't care. It doesn't matter how long it takes. We're going to go until we're finished. If it takes 10 sessions, then that's what it'll be. I don't care. No, I do care. We're going to limit it to something, but my point is we're going to get through the material. No, there's nothing out there, Jerome. You'll get an invite if you're in here. It's coming up soon, like within a couple of days. You'll get an invite if you're in here. We're going to start between now and Thanksgiving. My goal is to get at least 1 or 2 classes in. So it's going to start soon. I'm just going to do it. You get an invite, you either want it or you don't, and we go. It's not that many spots. I'm not going to shut anybody out, but it's not going to be like 30 people because I don't have the time to answer all those questions. If you're in here, you'll get an invite and a few others. Tesla, let's take a look, Brian T. In light of the fact that it's slowed down and we've had a couple of nice trades today, I'm going to wrap it up a few minutes early. I have somewhere to be. I'd rather be there earlier than later. So get it done. This is the way I look at it. So you have a gap here, and the gap is officially at 321.26. So let's put it down there. 321.26. Now we're just going to unpack this thing, and I'm going to show you. So they came close and they bounced away. They gave you a nice trade from what would have been a bounce at the gap, but they came up short and they bounced away a bunch of bucks, right? 14 bucks or whatever it was, 18, whatever it was. So now I want them to spike the gap. I want them to wash out the traders that are going to buy the gap now. And where are they going to wash them down to? On a stock like Tesla, a washout, look, a washout is a relative term. A washout could be 100 bucks. But in this case, I'm talking about $5 or $6. It's a $320 stock. I'm talking about $5 or $6, 315, 314, 316, 315, 314 in there. Let them wash it down to 315, give or take. And that's where they'll likely bounce it. Intraday, this is a today thing. Ask me tomorrow, I might give you a different answer depending on where they're trading. This is what it is now. So I would say, let's move this down to 315, and that's your Tesla. Then you got time. They come down in the next hour, half hour, something like that. You got time for bounce. Alex, you're going to know as much as, so it's a good question. So Alex asks a fair question about the class. Will we also learn how you come up with the daily levels on the spider? And what I'm going to answer it is, I'm going to show you as much as I can show you, but you're still going to be minus the experience of doing it for decades. Okay, so I'm better than I was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and I might be better than I am 10 years from now, or 1 year from now, or 3 years from now. So the point is that I'm going to show you the process. It's one of the things, right? I'm going to show you the process. We're going to go through the morning routine and how I unpack everything. And yes, but that doesn't mean that I'm giving you a formula that you can plug in 2 numbers and come out with the support and resistance for the day. It doesn't work like that. It's a learned skill, patience, experience, information. I'm going to teach you, but you're going to have to work at it. And I think that's a fair answer. You're welcome. Shalom made 162 bucks. He sold too early. That's okay. It's a profit. It's a profit. It's a profit. Tesla. Okay. So did I. Had it. What was it? 130. I can't even remember. Where did we have this? We might have had it down here. Swing trade. But I don't remember exactly. I think it might have been. It might have been. I think I'm right. I got to go back and check. Curious. It was on there. It was down there. But I don't still have it. There's some of that covered, Kenny. Some of it. Yes. Some of it. What's going to go on here is a whole different ballgame. Yeah, art form. Oh, I see what you're saying. Some of the information. It's part art form, part science, and you're gonna and you have to experience dictates the art form, or not really dictates, but the art form is cultivated and matures with experience. That's probably a better way to say it. Andrew wants to know what the cost is. It's going to be like 1,500 bucks. It's 1497, I think is the number. I already have the order form. It's done. I just putting an outline on a web page, which I procrastinated for a couple days. Something came up. I got distracted. And once that's finished, probably by this weekend or something, you'll get an email. That's the way it'll probably work. That's my guess. Tesla 60K with trailers. Brian T. How you doing? And by the way, just so everybody understands the cost, Andrew asked a couple times, this is going to be sold for probably double, if not more, when I edit it, put it in a package. Not giving away my stuff anymore. It's too valuable. No, you can't buy it in advance, Michael. No, I got to put the pieces together. It's all built. I just got to, when you buy it, you got to get an email that says, do this. Well, I didn't write that yet. You got to give me a chance. That takes about a minute or 10, but that's minimal. Let's see. No, this is not a discounted thing, Ronnie. I'm sorry. I can't give away my stuff anymore. I just can't do it. I'm giving it away at this price. Trust me. You're going to get maybe, I don't even know, 20, 25, 30 hours of just raw, unadulterated teaching that you have access to, unlimited. You want to watch it 10 times? Watch it 10 times. I'm not giving that away. I'm giving it away as it is. What are we looking at? Crude? Look at that bounce. Is that something? High or low? High or low? That's something. Look, I would say it's not out of the question to get to 69 and a quarter. You got all day. You got till 2:30. That's when the electronic session comes back. The crude pit session closes at 2:30. You got a couple of hours solid. 3 hours. Don't know if it gets there. Looking for a bull prize in crude. And the next number is the next number. That's all I have to say. But it's not going to be easy getting through these highs. And you look at this stuff here and you say, look, the market thought this was important. This is where it broke down. Same routine here. So we know that it's not going to be so easy to get through there. Where does it go to exactly to the number? It's hard to say. But if this thing gets going, they could get through. Bitcoin's still on a run. What time of day will you do the class? Great question, Ron. So I'm going to mix it up because I have to accommodate as many traders as I can. You got US, 3 different time zones. You got European traders. I've got traders in Asia, obviously Canada, which also has the same time zones as the difference in the US. So you know, what I'm going to do is mix it up. And then if you're not available, you'll watch the recording, and I will give access to the raw recording as if you were there. You just weren't able to answer any questions. There'd be no edits. It would just be the raw recording with the silence taken out. So if it was 3 hours, it'll be an hour and a half, or any dead space, like if I'm not talking like that, gets cut out. But so that's the answer. So I'm gonna mix it up. I'll do it I'm making it up. Thursday evening, maybe 6 to 9 Eastern time, something like that. 6:30 to 9:30, something like that. I'll do it on a weekend, maybe on a Saturday afternoon. I'll do a Sunday afternoon, 3 or 4 hours, something like that. Maybe even do a Friday afternoon while the market's open. Not that we're expecting a trade, but might as well do one while the market's open. And maybe we'll do one on a Friday afternoon. Maybe 2 to 4, 2 to 5, 1 to 4. I don't know. Making it up. Something like that. All right, folks. I'm going to wrap it here. It's 11:15. I'm going to get a jump on something I got to get going. We had 2 nice trades. We had crude oil participants. We had, what else do we have? We had Tyson. We had the Qs. We had a good morning. All right, across the board, traders, you know, across the board had a nice morning. We had something for everybody today, I think, just about anyway. So we're going to leave it there, and don't do stupid stuff in the afternoon. We'll see you in the video tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow in uniform, ready to go. Thanks, folks. Appreciate everybody.